You want to vote on it?
We have,
You got enough of it?
yeah. We have a resolution to go into agreement with Array Communications for broadband internet expansion to cover 82% of the county. We've been going back and forth with them, checking in to make sure whether it is feasible, whether they've really got the ability to do it, and every single thing I've investigated says yes, they can do it, and yes, they have the ability to do it. And it's going to be backed up by a bond. So here is the resolution for internet service agreement. This internet service agreement is entered into effective as of the 16th day of December 2021 between Array Communications, LLC, doing business as Ocoee Communications, hereafter referred to as Ocoee, and Polk County, Tennessee, a governmental entity, herein referred to as the entity. Whereas entity is desirous of making internet service available to members of its community through the use of federal infrastructure funds, and whereas Ocoee has the technology and know-how to set up systems to make such service available, now therefore be it resolved by the Polk County Legislative Body beginning this 16th day of December 2021 that for good and valuable consideration the parties agree as follows. Installation fee. The entity will pay Ocoee a one-time fee of $573,000 for installation of broadband mesh network communication system, herein known as a system capable of providing internet service to members of the community with a minimum of 1 gigabyte synchronous bandwidth available for all customers. Ocoee will arrange for issuance of a performance bond in the amount of $573,000. The fee from the entity to Ocoee shall be paid in full no later than 5 working days after the date of this agreement, provided that proof of a performance bond acceptable to the entity has been obtained. If needed, additional fees from the entity to Ocoee may be negotiated for future expansion above the 80% coverage area. See attached map. And we have the map here which covers basically all of the inhabited area of Polk County, from north to south, east to west, including Turtletown and Farner. All right.
And everything between.
Except for the dense areas of the forest where it says nobody lives. And that could be for future expansion if somebody moves there. Installment timing. Ocoee will have the system up and running within 60 days and complete installation of the system no later than 120 days after the payment of installation fees, subject to final inspection by the entity. Section 3, customers. Ocoee will furnish all forms, formats, applications necessary to sign up customers in the community for such service and will provide proper instruction and training on the process for sign up. The entity will cooperate in furnishing resources on the potential customer base. Billing. Ocoee will be responsible for setting up systems for billing customers for the service and for the handling of the building services. Section 5, maintenance. Ocoee will be solely responsible for maintaining the system and providing such personnel, equipment, and services necessary to keep the system fully operational at all levels. Section 6, revenue sharing. This is a big one. Ocoee will share net revenue with the entity on the following basis. After 1,000 customers are signed up and paying revenue, with all net revenue for the first 1,000 customers to be solely payable and distributed to Ocoee. After 1,000, 20% of the net revenue will return to the entity, which is Polk County. After 2,000, 30%. After 3,000, 40%. After 4,000, they will split it 50-50 with us. That will bring a tremendous amount of revenue to the county. And their addresses are Ocoee, Array Communications, LLC, 1802 West 57th Street in Chattanooga, and the entity is, of course, Polk County Government, P.O. Box 128, Memphis, Tennessee. Neither party will be liable for or will be considered to be in breach or default under this agreement on account of any delay or failure to perform as required by this agreement as a result of any causes or conditions that are beyond the party's reasonable control, and that such party is unable to overcome through the exercise of commercially reasonable diligence. If any force majeure events occur, the affected party will give prompt written notice to the other party and will be commercially responsible for efforts to minimize the impact of them. In other words, if we got a big snowstorm or a tornado comes through and tears stuff up, we're gonna give them extra time. Hopefully that nothing will happen. Ocoee agrees to indemnify and hold entity harmless against all and any and all liabilities, losses, damages, costs, and expenses which may occur, including but not limited to attorney's fees, costs which the entity may be required to pay directly by reason of error or omission by Ocoee, which directly or indirectly results in any liability, loss, or damage to the entity. They've taken all the liability to themselves, we're responsible for nothing. This resolution shall become effective upon passage contingent upon the mesh network being acceptable use of ARP funds. The public welfare requirement adopted this 16th day of December 2021.
Question, was there something in there dealing with the performance bond?
Yes,
What did it say again? I missed it.
an acceptable one to us.
It's been negotiated by us.
And you have no problem with that performance bond stating that you will service the areas at the speeds that you present?
Yes, sir, we talked about that.
We did, but I want to make it open to the public that you say the performance bond will reflect the speeds and the service area that y'all present.
Absolutely.
Let's skip the page. Skip it back. Oh, skip it back. Oh.
One more question, Mr. Dewey, will you read the back, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Section 7, definition of net revenue. Net revenue shall mean all gross billings received from customers less operating expenses, including any operation and maintenance expenses with labor and materials charged at standard industry rates. Ocoee shall provide detailed net revenue reports to the entity not less than quarterly. He does plan to employ the people from Polk County to run this. In fact, he has already hired somebody from Polk County to design and build their website, and it wasn't me. The term of this agreement shall be for 25 years and shall be extended thereafter on a year-to-year basis unless either party provides notice of termination at least 3 months prior to the end of any calendar year. Should Ocoee fail to perform or cease operation, all equipment and revenue Ocoee setup and operations shall become property of the entity. So if he goes out of business, we get it. Intellectual property, all trademarks, trade names, know-hows, patent systems, and all other intellectual property utilized, licensed, or owned by Ocoee for necessary purposes of this agreement shall remain the sole property of Ocoee unless he goes out of business. Governing decisions, management decisions regarding the system shall be determined equally by Ocoee and Polk County. In the event of a deadlock, the parties shall resort to the dispute resolution process in section 12A. In other words, Polk County will have a voice in what they're doing. Internet to government facilities. Internet services will be provided at no charge to all Polk County government-owned facilities upon request. This includes such places as the courthouse, election commission, polling places during elections, community centers, sanitation convenience centers, 911 center, library, and other Polk County-owned facilities that may request it. That's going to save us a lot of money right there. Miscellaneous. In the event legal action is instituted to enforce this agreement, the prevailing party shall be entitled to reasonable attorney fees and actual costs incurred in connection with such action. Any dispute will be submitted to a mediator agreed to by the parties. Failing with such a dispute will be submitted to a binding private arbitration with the arbitrator agreed upon by the parties. This agreement shall ensure to the benefit of and be binding upon all parties, their successors, and the signs. This agreement may not be assigned without prior approval of the non-assigning party. In other words, if he sells the company, they have to live by the agreement too. This agreement reflects the entire agreement of the parties hereto and is intended to be complete and exclusive statement of the terms thereof. It may not be modified or rescinded except in writing approved by the parties. This agreement, the relative rights and obligations of the parties hereunder, and all performance hereunder shall be governed by and constituted in accordance with the laws of the state of Tennessee. All notices given hereunder shall be in writing, or if oral, shall be confirmed in writing, and shall be deemed given when delivered to the parties at the addresses which are read.
A couple of things that I've noticed that with this service, this Wi-Fi, rural areas, we've got a lot of students in those rural areas that would benefit, don't we? I mean, as far as when they do the homeschooling and things from the school, that would be available for them to use in the areas that they don't have anything, right?
Correct.
Secondly, we've got a lot of fire departments in rural areas, just barely have cell service or anything else. That would help them too, wouldn't it? As far as having Wi-Fi and it being available.
The mesh network works a little bit different than the regular network in that it gives out the internet signal in the area, which means I don't have to be on my computer in the house to use it. I can get it on my phone and have internet connections. Is that true? So if I'm out in the state park taking a hike, I am going to still have internet access as long as it's in the mesh. And if I don't have cell service, I can use that internet service to make calls over internet calls. So it's a great thing.
But right now, even our, sanitation side employee in Corner, you can't even call us, can you?
Yeah, that's what I'm
You
talking
gotta have a
about.
landline.
Yes, we have to have a landline for
Yeah.
2 of our sanitation sites. And if you heard correct, our sanitation sites will be included in this.
Yeah.
Our polling places will also be included in this.
And that's a problem out in Turtletown.
Correct.
You can't, you gotta come to Ducktown to
Correct.
do anything.
And also, Keith probably relate to this, my son's deaf, you've heard him mention,
That's one
there's a lot of
thing.
places, their cell phones don't work,
Yeah.
and the radios don't work. And
That's
if
one of the
when that
things.
radio don't work, you at least ought to have your cell phone, you got to call for backup.
That could be life or death.
Yeah, there's several situations, I'm sure you've seen a bunch of it, Keith, over the years, that they don't got a lifeline whatsoever.
Mr. Dewey, you may have said, what's minimum upload and download speed?
1 gig,
No complaints.
no complaints.
But they changed it, it was marked at 500 up and down.
They're gonna give the signal out. In the mesh area, it may only reach 500 if it's on the edge of it. Is that correct, sir?
Or it laps over, make it faster, right?
Yes, so we're gonna put enough we're gonna put enough bandwidth into the network. Initially, some areas may only be 500, but as soon as we see that, we're gonna, apply more bandwidth, so everybody can have a gig
So-
service.
Once y'all approve this, in 120 days, it's gonna be up and running.
Yes, sir.
Completed.
Completed.
Yes, sir.
They'll be up and running in 60, right?
Up and running.
Okay, but I mean, you know,
Completed in 120, which is
Some
time
of
for the
it-
next, is that correct?
Yeah. I won't have the hardware to take advantage of it in my polling places in 120 days. But that'll open up the possibility of electronic poll books and all sorts of good things for future elections.
well, that's the feel-good thing, but something else we look at,
Make a
business,
motion.
commercial business.
A second.
Motion by James, second by Dewey, roll call.
Greg Brooks,
Yes.
Debbie Davis,
Yes.
Daniel Deal,
Yes.
Dewey Estimov,
Yes.
Jeremy Kinsey,
Yes.
John Kipinger,
Yes.
Samantha Trentham, yes, James Woody.
Yes.
Now, Mr. State,
The one thing, if this doesn't turn out in 120 days, it's gonna have that performance bond.
I do, I'll make another motion pertaining to this. I make a motion that the web committee and the executive go approve the bond that we have. That way, John Hoyt,
Nope, the committee cannot take the power of the commission.
If they give it to us.
The commission.
Y'all can make
recommend to the
recommendations
commission,
too
cannot
for the
take-
we don't want to wait till next month to be able to do
Well, you can't do it, that's law. The commission cannot give authority to the committee for finalization, only to a board. The committee can recommend that for the commission.
it. Can we give it to the county exec?
Yes, you can if you do it by the county board. If the commission votes to allow the county executive to approve a bond,
And he can take the recommendation of the web committee, which includes you.
the committee doesn't have the power.
I make that motion that we give the county exec
Authority to
authority
sign,
to
to accept the
accept
performance
the
bond.
performance bond.
That's after the web committee
By recommendation
has
of the web committee.
for the recommendation. Okay, I second.
motion by Dewey, second by Davis, any discussion on the bond?
Roll call.
Larry Brooks.
Yes.
Debbie Davis.
Yes.
Daniel Deal.
Yes.
Dewey Estimate.
Yes.
Jeremy Kinsey.
Yes.
John Pippinger.
Yes.
Samantha Trent. James Wade.
Yes.
Can we have a motion?
When he gets the bond to us, we'll have to call it. We need the bond so we can call the meeting.
I'll have it tomorrow.
You'll have that tomorrow?
Next question.
Can you not, will it, don't be able to wait till after Christmas, or when it's that bad next week, or what?
They can get it to us tomorrow. We can get it out to the committee and find a day as quick as we can.
Well, yeah, since you ain't gotta do a full commission, that's right.
What about Tuesday, 21st, Mr. Gibb?
I have no problem with it. Is that a way of getting out to your own committee?
Let me check my notes. Yeah, we did that. Yeah. What time?
Don't matter to me, we're off. It's up to the manager. 6 is fine with me.
6 o'clock.
Is that okay with you?
Are you good with 6?
I'll be here, yeah.
Okay. James, is that okay with you?
And we'll have, one more art committee meeting before the January 20th meeting. I'll get everybody and see when we have it. I will get, I'll let everybody know, department heads, if they don't come, get forward.
Get the form out to them.
Yep.
In case we do hourly instead of across the board. Well, we need the paper anyway for hourly, free, even if we do across the board.
Anybody else got anything?
Petitions go out and run it.
Huh?
Start picking up your petitions.
So everybody's aware, the courthouse will be closed on all county buildings, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, and 27th. That's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. They'll also be closed on Friday, the 31st, and Monday, the 3rd. That's all county buildings. The most important, the dumps. I heard a snicker, but trust me, it will come out. The dumps will be closing a half a day for Christmas Eve on the 24th at 1 o'clock. So if you have any business to do with the dumps before then, and you show up, please don't be mad, but I am gonna let the workers off. We do it every year. It was like that even before the county took over. So on Christmas Eve on the 24th, dumps will close at 1 o'clock. All dumps will be closed on the 25th. So you need to go half a day before on same thing. So they will be, the dumps will be closed on Saturday, January the 1st. So you have 2 back-to-back weekends that the dump will be closed. I would highly recommend wait till Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because I believe everybody knows it's gonna be very chaotic. But just wanna work that out. But all county buildings will be closed, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 31st, the 30th, the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd.
9, 10, 11.
John Hoyt almost got his wish. John's always tried to get me shut down for 2 weeks, but we did give a little more this year, was the way it felt.
Everything else?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.